Hello, welcome to Big Lou Barbecue and other things I want to do. I'm Big Lou, and today we're not doing barbecue. We're doing other things I want to do. Look, my wife and daughter came back from Central Florida. They were out there giant mouse hunting. In fact, they even spent a day going to another area where they were hanging out with wizards and dragon slaying and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Anyway, look what they brought me from Epcot. Turkish coffee, y'all. A few years ago, I had a chance to go to Turkey. Got to go to Ephesus and some other places. Got to see some things. And when we were in Kusadasi, I was 43 years old at the time. I'm older than that now. But it was the first time I'd ever had Turkish coffee. And man, my wife didn't think it was too hot. She was like, it's a bit too strong. Now, she and I both drink black coffee and both like strong coffee. But she wasn't as big a fan of Turkish coffee as I was, but I was like, this is fantastic. And even though it had the little grounds down in the bottom of it and everything. And since then, I've become a Turkish coffee fan. So she brought me Turkish coffee from the Turkey exhibit at Epcot. And that was my souvenir. Look at that, y'all. Disney price, $9. For that little bitty can of Turkish coffee. Anyway, I'm gonna be making Turkish coffee this time on Big Lou Barbecue.
You know, looking due east right now. Normally you'd be able to see the sunrise, but it's cloudy. It's been storming the past few days. Hadn't been able to get outside, hadn't been able to mow the yard, hadn't been able to barbecue. I had planned to do some country style ribs. Show you how I like to cue them up. I wound up cooking those inside because it had been raining so bad. The porch is a mess because of the storm, so excuse that. Anyway, if it wasn't so cloudy, you'd be able to see a beautiful sunrise just about now. You're looking due east.
Okay, to make Turkish coffee, you need a stove or a Bunsen burner or something like that. I'm going to use this old Coleman 1973. Can you see that right there? I don't know if you can see that if the camera will focus on that. But it's made in June of 1973. This is an old Coleman 502 stove. The way it works, you put Coleman fuel or white gas in it. You pump it up about 30 or 40 times. I've already done that. You open the valve about a quarter turn. It lets some liquid and fuel and some air through here, and it burns up orange for a few minutes. And then once it evaporates the liquid, it'll start to burn blue. You open the valve up all the way, and you can cook just about anything on it. Sometimes I use this out here when I'm sitting on my porch swing. As I said, my porch faces due east, and I get to watch the sunrise, and I enjoy coffee out here. And sometimes I like espresso or pseudo espresso. I use one of these stovetop espresso makers. Also have one in aluminum. This is a steel one. But to make Turkish coffee, you don't use that. You use something called an ebreek, and I don't have an ebreek. It's a tall cylindrical pot with a handle on it. I thought about using the bottom of this as the ebreek, but then I wouldn't have a handle, and picking up the hot one to pour in would be tough. So I'm just going to make it in a saucepan. I'm just going to make the Turkish coffee in that saucepan right there. I know that's not traditional, but I don't have an ebreek. Maybe I need to order one now that I've got some Turkish coffee. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to light up this stove. As soon as I found my lighter, hot. All right, we're going to light up the stove. You do it just like this. You open this like that. Come on now, light. There we go. That's wide open right there. Once you get it settled down to a blue flame, you can open the thing all the way up. Just like that. All right. We're going to put the pot on. We're going to pour in the water. Get it to go boiling. Dry the spoon off. Open up this Turkish coffee. Now, Turkish coffee should be about the consistency of cocoa powder. It's real fine. Oh boy, that is a hard can to open. My goodness, you see? It's real fine. I'm gonna put in about 2 level teaspoons here of Turkish coffee. Well, I don't know teaspoons, tablespoons, whatever kind of spoon this is, that's what I'm putting in there. I'm gonna stir it real quick and let that boil up. All right, I'm gonna be serving it in my Ola cup. I know, Spain's on the opposite side of the Mediterranean from Turkey. I know. This was made for me by a local potter. They know that I speak Spanish a little bit and enjoy learning languages. So they made this for me. It's got Senor Lewis on the back. That's where I get Big Lou from. That's my last name, actually, Lewis. All right. Probably shouldn't tell you that, but hey, I don't care if you know. All right. Anyway, this stuff is going to boil. Looks like that right there. And it should start to froth up in a little bit. I'll turn the camera back on when it does. Okay, the Turkish coffee is beginning to come to a boil here. You get this froth stuff on the top. And what you're supposed to do is pour off a little of that foam, and it pours out better from an e-brick than it does from this, and then bring it back to a boil. So you see a good bit of that foam came on off and went into the cup, and then you bring it back to a boil one more time, and that shouldn't take too long for it to come back to a boil, and then you turn it off. And I think there it goes. I think it's starting to boil again, all right? So we're gonna go ahead and turn it off. And you pour it up. Of course, it'd pour out easier from an e-brick. Now, we gotta wait about a minute for it to settle, for it to cool off a little bit so it can get to drinking temperature. That's pretty much how you make Turkish coffee. I enjoy sitting out here on the porch swing, usually watching the sunrise, and I can't see it this morning because it's cloudy. You can see that behind me. You're looking north, but my porch faces due east, and I usually get to watch the sunrise out here. When I was a kid in the 70s, there was this TV commercial for International House coffees, all these fancy flavored coffees and things, with people sitting on the porch swing enjoying their coffee, and it just seared in my mind that you're supposed to enjoy your coffee on the porch swing. So, I don't like the fancy smancy coffees. I am not a coffee snob, and I don't like coffee flavored stuff, and I don't put sugar or cream. I don't want anything. No dilutants or pollutants messing up my pure cup of caffeine. I drink my coffee black. Sometimes I like to drink my espresso in this thing and drink it black. But Turkish coffee is one of the oldest brewing methods known to mankind. And it was the Turks who spread coffee drinking throughout the world, through the Ottoman Empire and all that. In fact, the word we get for coffee comes from the Turkish word kahve, which is spelled K-A-H-V-E, I believe. All right? One of the oldest, but still the best brewing methods for coffee. Grind that stuff fine like powder, and boil it in the coffee. Oh, that's good stuff, y'all. Good stuff. Anyway, hope you enjoyed watching me make Turkish coffee this morning. I sure am going to enjoy this little bit of Turkish coffee I got. I'm glad they brought it back to me from Central Florida when they were mouse hunting. Bye, y'all. Big Lou Barbecue.